SteamWorld Quest Hand of Gilgamech is a turn-based RPG with card-based combat focusing heavily on storytelling. The game's story-driven nature is evident in how you transition between stages, with a narrator turning the pages as if reading a storybook. This unique approach makes each chapter feel like part of a grander adventure. Mix and match 3 out of a total of 5 characters to tailor your team to your preferred playstyle, allowing for a variety of strategic combinations. Each brings their own set of your choice of 8 cards, which can be customized to suit different combat scenarios. The overall game design is excellent, especially in how the story unfolds, with a lighthearted tone. The art style perfectly complements the characters, like the main character, Armely, who walks in an endearingly uncoordinated fashion. The storyline and setting feature surprising locale changes, such as transitioning from lush forests to dark dungeons, and a solid, albeit somewhat cliched narrative. The boss battles are standout, really driving home the story and providing some of the game's most memorable moments. I played the game for a total of 11 hours to beat the main storyline, but completionists could easily spend more time exploring and collecting everything. There's also some endgame content for those seeking a little bit more of a challenge, such as Coliseum battles and hidden treasure. On iOS, the game is priced at $9.99, though you can find it on sale for as low as 99 cents, making it a great value for the amount of content that it offers. The combat system progression is one of the game's strongest points. Initially, you'll be focusing on basic attacks, but as you advance, you'll be managing buffs, debuffs, combos, and card matching. This deepening complexity keeps the combat engaging throughout. The use of a steam pressure meter adds an additional layer of strategy, as players must decide when to save up for powerful skill cards or use basic attacks to build up their meter. The main cast of characters each have their own charm, and while they are somewhat stereotypical, they are well written, behaving in ways that align with their established personalities. For example, back to Armely, she is a wannabe hero who follows the how-to guide on becoming a legend to a T. These character dynamics add a delightful flavor to the game and make interactions between all of them a little bit more engaging. Game offers a good level of challenge, although I only died once. There are several close calls that I had that kept me on my toes. It is packed with collectibles and objectives to work towards adding to its replay value. The inclusion of a fast-forward button for battles and movement is a thoughtful addition that helps maintain the game's pace. The combat music and enemy design are particularly commendable. Especially in the later stages, there are some really cool designs. However, I do wish that the game was at least a little bit clearer on which enemies were immune to certain elements, as this occasionally made battles more difficult than necessary. The hand-drawn environments and character animations also contribute significantly to the game's aesthetic charm to keep in mind though. While it's largely enjoyable, there are a few frustrating elements. For one, I wish there was an easier way to revisit levels and find those hidden chests. I went back quite a few times even on the second level to find one of those chests. And longer levels, I often gave up trying to achieve 100% completion. Additionally, I found it inconvenient that teammates not used in combat didn't level up at the same rate as active characters. Even though there's an item to address this, it would have been better if all the characters leveled equally, encouraging me to experiment with different team compositions than just sticking to my main 3. I didn't encounter any bugs or technical issues during my playthrough. However, the later parts of the game did feel like quite a bit of a slog, with combat slowing down significantly. This occasionally led me to try to avoid enemies altogether just to progress. I also found the card crafting and upgrading mechanics tedious. I felt like the resource investment just didn't justify the benefits or the time that I had put towards it. The crafting system, while robust, could be a little bit more intuitive and make it feel more rewarding and less like a grind. Navigating some of the areas was awkward, particularly getting through doors, which seemed to be an issue with some of the touchscreen sensitivity. Additionally, some combat mechanics felt clunky, such as trying to put a card back in your hand after initially selecting it. This lack of fluidity in certain mechanics occasionally disrupted an otherwise smooth gameplay experience. Overall, I love SteamWorld Quest from start to finish. It's short enough to not overstay its welcome, though it does come close to doing so towards the end. The game has some broken mechanics to watch out for as you near the endgame, and while the finale is epic, certain parts could have been more enjoyable without those minor frustrations. The game offers a delightful mix of strategic card-based combat and engaging storytelling. The charming characters and witty dialogue keeps you invested throughout the journey. Despite its cliched elements, the story manages to entertain, and honestly, that's all that matters, right? The customization options in forming your team and deck allows for strategic and significant amount of depth, making each combination feel unique. The combat system and its progression from simple attacks to complex combos and strategic planning keeps the gameplay fresh and exciting. The addition of endgame content and collectibles provide ample replay value for those looking to extend their adventure. So, despite some flaws, the game stands out as a compelling and enjoyable RPG. Its accessible yet deep gameplay, unique systems, and overall simplicity make it a must-play for fans of the genre. For RPG enthusiasts and newcomers alike, this game offers a refreshing take on the genre with its card-based mechanics and engaging story. It's a game that invites you to dive into its world, experiment with different strategies, and just enjoy the adventure along the way. If you have any recommendations for me to review, leave it in the comment section below. Otherwise, stay tuned in to Gaming in the Moment.